Have you ever felt that spark with someone unexpected? That forbidden pull that makes your heart race and your palms sweat? Sometimes the most ordinary invitations can lead to extraordinary, life-altering moments. Get ready to dive into a story about hidden desires, blurred lines, and a game night that no one could have predicted. We invited our neighbor Alex over for a fun game. But what happened next made it almost impossible to remain composed. Alex, our next-door neighbor, was hard to miss. In his late 30s, he exuded a magnetic energy that instantly commanded attention. He was not the kind of man you saw every day in our neighborhood. Tall and athletic, with sharp features, piercing blue eyes, and an easy smile that could brighten any room. I first met Alex while my husband, Tom, and I were unpacking boxes in our driveway. Dressed casually in a fitted black t-shirt and jeans, Alex strode over confidently, carrying a tray of cookies. He greeted us warmly, introducing himself and welcoming us with the cookies, noting that moving in must be exhausting. Tom thanked him, setting down a box, and, as Alex handed over the tray, our fingers briefly brushed. It was a fleeting moment, but I remember the way he looked at me, a beat too long, which unsettled me in a way I couldn't explain. I quickly thanked him, introducing myself and Tom as my husband. Alex smiled, shifting his gaze to Tom and offering help with tools, neighborhood advice, or just company. His offer lingered in my mind long after he left. A few weeks passed as we settled into our new home. Tom, a graphic designer and managing a boutique, had full schedules. Despite the chaos of unpacking, our lives felt ordinary. But I craved something more, a spark that felt close but out of reach. Alex, however, was far from ordinary. His presence became increasingly noticeable, whether he was jogging shirtless or working on his motorcycle in the driveway. One Saturday evening, while Tom and I relaxed on our patio with wine, Alex called over the fence, inviting us to a barbecue the next day, promising good food, drinks, and company. Tom accepted before I could decline, and the barbecue was as promised, lively and enjoyable. Alex effortlessly charmed everyone, making each person feel uniquely seen. I couldn't help but notice his gaze frequently landing on me throughout the evening. Later, as the crowd thinned, Alex suggested a game night at our place, something a little different and intimate to get to know each other better. Intrigued, Tom agreed. The following Friday, Alex arrived with wine, looking effortlessly stylish in a navy sweater and dark jeans. I caught myself staring, noticing his cedarwood and spicy scent. We began with drinks and easy conversation before Alex introduced his game, a card deck with conversation-sparking questions, ranging from lighthearted to personal. As the night progressed, the questions grew bolder. We discussed regrets, with Tom lamenting not prioritizing relationships and me wishing I'd taken more risks. Alex's intense gaze made me uncomfortable as he suggested risks could be worthwhile. Tom then asked about moments we'd relive. Alex described a spontaneous night in Italy that made him feel alive. When it was my turn, I mentioned meeting Tom, a simple moment that changed everything. Tom smiled, taking my hand, but Alex's gaze remained fixed on mine, unreadable. After Alex left, I couldn't deny a shift in the air. His presence lingered, and I replayed our conversation. Tom seemed oblivious to the tension, or perhaps chose to ignore it. The next day, while I gardened, Alex appeared at the fence, casually asking if he'd overstepped boundaries the previous night. I dismissed his concern, saying it was fun and different. Alex smiled, suggesting a round two, leaving me with a flutter in my chest. The following week, Tom suggested inviting Alex for dinner to reciprocate their previous invitations. I agreed, despite my quickened pulse at the thought. Alex arrived with wine and heard for dinner. During the pleasant dinner, my focus was primarily on Alex, observing his laughter, his rolled-up sleeves, and his lingering glances. A brief hand brush while pouring wine sent a jolt through me, and our eyes met in a moment of heightened tension. Later, Tom casually remarked on Alex's charisma and how hard he was to ignore, jokingly asking if I was jealous. I quickly denied it, though my flushed cheeks betrayed me. That night, I sensed Tom had noticed more than he let on, and I wondered if our quiet life was about to become unpredictable. Alex's presence lingered in my mind, his intense gaze and subtle smiles creating an invisible thread between us. Tom, seemingly unfazed, suggested inviting Alex over again, describing him as interesting. When Alex arrived that Friday with whiskey and a fitted black shirt, my pulse quickened. Tom welcomed him warmly, but I felt nervous as Alex's eyes met mine. Alex suggested whiskey instead of wine, and Tom readily agreed. As Tom prepared drinks, Alex and I lingered in the living room, discussing his long week. He remarked that our company always made things interesting, a word that made my skin tingle. Tom returned, and Alex proposed truth or dare, which Tom, initially hesitant, eventually agreed to play along with me. The game started innocently, but as the whiskey flowed, questions became more intimate. Alex asked if I'd ever thought of being with someone other than Tom, creating a palpable tension. I admitted everyone has thoughts, but nothing serious. Tom then dared Alex to kiss me like he meant it. Alex kissed me briefly while intently watching. Ryan then chose truth, admitting to past attraction to men. Finally, it was my turn, and feeling bold, I chose dare. Alex steadily dared me to kiss him. Tom stiffened, but remained silent, and I leaned in and kissed Alex, a kiss that deepened and made the world fade away. When we broke apart, Alex remarked it was interesting. Tom laughed strainedly, but insisted the game continue. The game escalated, blurring lines with lingering touches and whispered confessions. By night's end, boundaries were blurred. I woke with guilt and a headache. Tom was already up, casually asking about the previous night. Just a game, right? Before I could fully respond, Alex arrived with coffee. The three of us engaged in easy conversation, but the tension between Alex and me was palpable. I found myself increasingly drawn to Alex's charm and confidence. Later, at Alex's house, after lying to Tom about meeting a friend, I admitted I shouldn't be there, but Alex closed the door and led me to the couch. He noted my tension and admitted he couldn't stop thinking about me, mirroring my own thoughts. He kissed me, a deliberate and confident kiss that ignited a feeling I hadn't felt in years. I should have stopped him, but I leaned into it. When we separated, he softly said I didn't have to pretend with him anymore, questioning my happiness with Tom. His question hit hard, and I admitted I didn't know if I was happy. Alex suggested it was time to figure out. That night began a secret, intense affair. Alex made me feel alive and seen in ways Tom never had, noticing small details about me and understanding me effortlessly. One evening, finding my house empty with Tom away, I went to Alex's. He sensed my rough day and invited me in. As we talked, my resolve crumbled, and I kissed him passionately. Alex murmured for me to stay the night, and despite hesitation and guilt, I agreed. The night was a blur of passion and whispered confessions. But as morning arrived, guilt set in. I sat on his bed, and Alex sensed my second thoughts. He asked what we were doing, suggesting we could do whatever we wanted and questioning if that was bad. I admitted it felt wrong, but couldn't deny it felt good. The following days were filled with confusion and guilt. Tom returned, oblivious, and his warm welcome made me feel worse. He noticed my distance, but accepted my lie about work stress. My guilt grew, but I couldn't stay away from Alex. One evening, in Alex's arms, I questioned what we were doing. Alex said we were figuring it out, one step at a time, and that my relationship with Tom was something only I could decide, but he didn't regret our affair. I admitted I didn't either, but didn't know how long I could live this double life. The cracks in my double life began to show. Tom noticed my changed behavior, my distance, and the silences between us. He confronted me, sensing I was somewhere else. I continued to lie about work stress, increasing my guilt. One evening, Alex's urgent message pulled me back to him. At his house, his longing and relief were evident. He kissed me deeply, reminding me of our connection. He sensed my quietness and questioned if I'd changed my mind about them. I reassured him I hadn't, and he confessed he couldn't let me go. We spent the night together, but a heavy feeling remained. Alex made me feel alive, but also like I was on the edge of a cliff. The next morning, I admitted I couldn't continue like this, that it wasn't fair to anyone. Alex bluntly suggested I leave Tom, pointing out my unhappiness and lack of fulfillment in my marriage. He argued I deserved to be with someone who truly saw me and made me feel alive. His words resonated deeply. The drive home was heavy with Alex's ultimatum. Tom was in the kitchen, greeting me with a smile, but quickly noticing my distress. He pressed me about what was wrong, and I finally couldn't lie anymore. I admitted I was just tired, but Tom saw through it and urged me to confide in him. That afternoon, Alex texted, asking if I considered his words. I responded, needing time. Days turned into weeks, with Tom's increased attentiveness amplifying my guilt. Alex's patience wore thin, evident in his tightened jaw and lingering touches. One evening, Tom suggested dinner out, a rare treat. At the restaurant, I felt a void despite Tom's kindness. He suddenly asked if I was happy. I couldn't answer truthfully. He revealed he knew I wasn't and suspected it was about Alex. The silence confirmed his suspicions. I confessed I hadn't meant for it to happen. Tom, hurt and angry, said he deserved better, and so did I. That night, we talked for hours, laying everything bare. Tom packed and left, giving me space. Alone in our empty house, the weight of my choices crashed down. The next morning, I went to Alex's door. He opened it with surprise and relief. I told him Tom knew. Alex asked what now. I admitted I didn't know, but couldn't keep lying. Alex nodded, saying, "You're here, that's a start." Standing in his arms. The weight of my actions was heavy, but Alex's presence was grounding. I felt a raw, real hope for the first time in a long time, enough to take the next step. If you're moved by Ben's story, give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to LGBT Stories for more emotional and romantic tales just like this one. And don't forget to comment below. What did you think of Ben's choices? Let's talk about it in the comments.